Alright folks, here I just went ahead and got this 283 put in this C10 here, and if you look, there's our 283 in here, and then look on the other side. Oh, I got a double hump. Which one is it? Nah, I'm just kidding. It's the old turd 305. It's still in here. I just had these old two heads laying around. I actually got a set of these are 58, 96, 283 heads. I think they're 63s. And I just had them laying around, so I took and borrowed one of them, set on this motor here to help keep moisture and water and all that crap out, because I don't want this motor to get ruined. Because eventually I have decided if I'm going to put it in the Biscayne or if I'm going to go with the roller. I'd rather go with the roller. You can still run the mechanical fuel pump on it, and of course this one you can run it too. But anyways, just keep moisture and water and all out. And this head actually over here was actually originally on this truck, on the 350 that was in here. It had a burnt valve, and it was actually on this side here originally anyway. It was a 73 350. But anyway, enough of that. Went ahead and we've been ordering a few things for it here and there, and I've been working on the heads here and there every couple days, whatever. And got a couple things in. We got a new HI distributor for it that came in, and then we got a 1-wire alternator we're going to put on here. So we're going to get rid of all this cluster mess down here, getting rid of all these trash wires here. This goes to the voltage regulator. This one, the white one here, it goes to the ignition side post on your ignition switch. And on your ignition switch, and this other side is a power wire that goes to the power side. So we're going to eliminate all this and just have a power. So we're going to do the same thing what we did on my Etzel there, and we're just going to have a power wire, and that's going to be it. And we don't have to reclock it, but in theory we technically kind of are. But the new 1-wire alternator, it's a higher amp. It's supposed to be 105 amp, and same thing as what's on my Etzel over here. It's 105 amp, regular old GM 10SI alternator here, and same alternator, same amperage and all that. Went with 105. It's kind of oddball because the 105 just typed in 100 amp. That's what popped up, 105 amps. So I was like, that's close enough. But anyway, wanted something kind of decent, so I bought that. And get back what I was talking about. In theory, we kind of are reclocking it, but not really. It's already clocked in the correct position. This alternator is not. As you can see, we had originally the wires that go to the voltage regulator, because this is internal, would have went down here like that. I don't like it because you got all this mess in the way of our motor here, so we're going to get rid of these two wires already. That makes it a 1-wire. And also, once we pull this alternator off here, we're going to install our 1-wire, and we're going to get rid of this. And we're also we'll still have this wire here, but it's going to be reclocked. That way, at the 9 o'clock position, right now it's at the 6 o'clock. Looks like 12, it's actually 6 o'clock because it's upside down. But it'll be reclocked to the 9 o'clock position, so that'll move that over. And that'll hide this, and also hide this better, so it's not, right hanging above our exhaust manifold and all that. So it'll be reclocked, and that'll get rid of all that, and it'll look so much better. And really like it. It's going to be really nice, and it's just a natural finish with the black pulley, same as what's on my Etzel here. And really like it. A lot higher amperage. So eventually, like I said, if I do my dream, put my 454 and all in it, I'm gonna restore the AC on this body, we'll say. I'm not gonna say on this truck, because the frame we're not gonna use on this truck. But I want to restore the AC back on this truck, and that's not enough. 105 amp rated alternator. That's not enough. We'll go for a little bit higher one. We'll pull it off and we'll put it on at 78 back there. It needs an alternator too. That one I believe still works fine, but I just kind of a little secret of mine. That's, I guess I'll start being known famous for that. That's the answer pretty much to everything. Is if you got a crappy wire harness like our truck here does here, that kind of fixes everything. We'll just throw a HI distributor in it and run 1 wire to it, get 12 volts positive to it, and then run a 1-wire alternator and run a, probably maybe, I don't know, anywhere from a 6 to 8 gauge hot wire from the battery to the alternator, and then run a wire from the back post on the alternator to your wire harness in your truck. And then, it kind of eliminates everything, gets rid of all this bird's nest under here and spaghetti and all that. But enough about me talking. Let's take a look at our new alternator and I'll eat you out distributor. Alright, so here's our this is our 1-wire alternator here, and so far just a little quick note here. The ups box is really nice. I'm enjoying it. Makes it so much more convenient. I really love it. You just go pick the packages up, you ain't gotta worry about nothing. Eliminates a lot of hassles. The only two downsides that I don't like about it, because I'm giving y'all a real review here, is it's not truly 24/7 access. It's not like a post office where you can walk in 2, 3 in the morning, go check your mailbox. There, you gotta wait till they open. So that's one downside. And the other downside is it's not very private, I would say. If you go check your mail, it's a little more private, unless you're going inside to get stamps or, regular mail, USPS, a little more private, it just makes things more private. Where there, you got to go in and then you open your box up and, they give you a little slip and you got to hand it to them and all that. And if they got a long line, like 10 people in line, that's the only downside to it. So you got to wait in line. It's not very private. Where you can get in and out like a post office. Just get your mail and get out, unless you got a big box or something. But anyway, that's the only two downsides. But I'd rather put up with that and then, go through a bunch of headaches like I did before. So to me, it's more of a win-win situation than it is, anything else. But enough about that. But anyway, so we opened up here. Got a nice black pulley on it. And just the old single groove. That's a single groove pulley. And I'm going to take it out. And that is the part number it looks like there, I think. Interchange 20-102-7. And then it says, I can't hardly read it. It says 2108, so that probably is August of 2021, or it could be August 20th of 2021 when it was made. But anyway, it's a 1-wire. Open it up, clock correctly. So this will be in the position there that I want it, so we can hide that. This will be facing towards the inside of the water pump. This will be facing towards the same way as well. Just do the same thing. If you watch the Edsel videos there, just don't play with that. Run you a good heavy gauge wire. I would run, anywhere from you could do what I did, and, I went way overkill. And I think I bought like a 4-gauge battery cable wire and crimped 2 ends on it. And did it that way. I mean, it's not really going to hurt nothing. But don't play with that. Don't sit there and run like a 16 gauge or 18 gauge or, something stupid like that. Don't sit there and play around with that, because that'll cause a fire. And, this is your alternator. You want a good accurate connection and a good charge anyway. So anyway, running good heavy gauge wire. It is clocked correctly when it's on the motor. As you're looking, it'll be just like this. Just the way I want it. That'll be facing the water pump towards the driver's side's that way, the passenger side's that way, and it'll be clocked just like that. So that'll be hidden. All this will be hidden on this side here, and I'll make it really nice. That's all I like it. It's supposed to be 105 amps, what it's rated for. It's 1-wire, and makes it really nice. All right, check our distributor out. Alright, so here's our distributor. It's just a regular old Assault Racing. And it's just typical eBay stuff. I just get stuff off eBay. It's just simpler that way. Anyway, we open this up here. And gives you instructions in it. And all that good stuff. But anyway, I made sure you got to make sure this has the correct gear for a flat taplet cam. And I know it's just 305, but you want to make sure that's right. If you got a roller cam, you got to run a different type gear. I think you got to run like a bronze gears. or brass, whatever it is, steel gear, I don't know. But from my understanding, a cast iron gear on the bottom of your distributor here is supposed to be, you know, perfectly fine with a flat tappet cam. So you want to make sure that's right, and do your research too. Make sure, because I don't want to lead you the wrong way. But anyway, we got a new HI distributor here, and just, you know, makes it simple. And I bought the style cap like that. Let me open it up here. Alright, so hopefully it's not blurry or nothing. But anyway, I like this particular style cap here. And you can interchange these. They sell a hotter coil, supposedly, quote unquote. Supposed to give you hottest spark and all that. I think it's just a sales gimmick. I actually watched Uncle Tony's garage where he compared points ignition to electronic ignition, and it's actually the same spark pretty much. It's just as hot, and he actually took a ruler to see how far it went out and all that between points and electronic ignition. It's the exact same spark, really. But I like this way better because it just moves the coil instead of having the coil sit on the top of the intake like that. It just, all it did is GM just moved to the top of the distributor. But this, you know, distributor here is actually getting outdated now, believe it or not. Well, probably about 5-10 years outdated. But anyway, I like this style mainly like this because you can pull the plug wires off easier. They got a different style too that covers all this up, and without taking these 3 screws out here to take this latch off to pull your plug wires off, you know, it's kind of a pain in the butt there to pull them off. I don't like it, and I just like this style. You can, you know, easy access. You ain't got to mess with none of that or anything like that. And these distributors, it's to the point now. I mean, I paid like, I think it was $50 for this thing, and it's to the point now. They want, you want to pay. They charging $25 to $30 for a cat and rotor, and you know, pay another 15 to 20 for a coil. It just ain't worth it. I don't even buy caps or rotors anymore. I just buy a whole nother distributor. I mean, it's no point now, because I just buy a whole nother distributor. I probably got like 10 of these HI distributors. You know, the only reason I replaced them is because, you know, the caps. I'm not going to spend $20-30 on the cap when I can spend 50 and just get a whole nother, you know, shebang and just pull it out and pass it on another project. And the nice thing about these distributors is a secret behind these is your small block Fords. You know, you got Dodge and all that stuff. They make AGI distributors for anything now. And, you know, you just run a hot to it. You know, you run a hot to the battery side on this post right here, and you're done. That's it. Your grounds to the engine block. You ain't got to run no ground, nothing like that. It's just, it's done. You can run a tack too. Run a tack wire on this side, run a hot to that side. Bada bing, it's done. Now, problem with that is the only issue with it, a lot of people don't like the big caps, because like a car like this on their Biscayne here, and I'm probably going to run into this, but I was talking to my uncle the other day, and love him to death, bless his heart, but he don't know what I was talking about. But is having a conversation about the, you know, it's a bigger diameter cap and all that. I told him, I just run HI distributors and all that. Everybody's got their own choice and all that. Don't get me wrong. They got, you know, Protronics and all that stuff. If you want to keep the original look, you know, you can run a old school points distributor and just pull the points out and, you know, make it electronic and do all that stuff. I know about all that stuff. I was going to do it to Metzel, but I changed my mind. But a car like this, I might have to buy a points distributor on this car, because the firewall clearance, it may not clear. Now, if this car had the 235 in it, and they actually make a HI distributor for a 235 now, if you don't know that, but that distributor may not clear the firewall. It's not so much on this side over here, it's just this little spot on the firewall right in there. It may hit that little corner right there. May hit. Not 100% sure, but I know a buddy had a 62 Impala. He kind of had to modify the firewall just a little bit, kind of right in there. I hope you can see where my finger's at. He had to modify that just slightly. It's not a big deal, but you know, I don't want to be screwing up the firewall on this car. Parts are already crazy amount of money, but so in this type of situation, you might have to run a small cap, like an old points distributor, or just run a, I have to do a little research into it, but run a small cap HI. They make them too. But I tried that on my Chevelle because I wanted to, quote unquote, keep the original look. but it ended up being junk, and I couldn't get the fire. I don't know if I fried the coil or what, but it's supposed to not have a resistor wire run to the coil and all that. It's supposed to the resistor and all that stuff is supposed to be built in to the coil. That's what it said and all that. And of course, evidently must not, because I fried the coil, because the coil got hot, so I must have fried it. And I just, pulled it out and to the heck with it, just threw HEI in it and run it hot. It's done. That's one thing you gotta be careful about is on all points, you don't want to run a full 12 volts to it. You'll fry the points. And well, maybe not so much the points, but the coil. It's just that's why that resistor wire is there. It drops 12 volt down to like 6, I believe, something like that. But it drops the voltage down so don't fry it, more or less. And then with the HEI, it's basically for idiots like me. You run 12 volt to it, you ain't gonna worry. It's 12 volt constant. That's all it takes. You run it off the ignition side post on your ignition switch, and that's it. Done. Then run your power wire from your back of your alternator. Run the first one from your battery post on your positive. Run it to the alternator. Run a good heavy gauge wire there. And then run another, maybe a 8 to 10 gauge from that point to your battery side post on your ignition switch. And you're pretty much done. And run a wire from your solenoid to the ignition. You're done. Ain't much to it, really. But a situation like this, like I was talking to my uncle about, I don't think he understood my situation I was talking about, is, I like HEI distributors, and I was telling him, well, the cap's a little bigger in diameter, it might not, I was talking about firewall clearance, basically, is what I was talking about, and I forgot how he said it, but, something about, I can't remember how he did it. It's like firewall clearance, that's got nothing with it firing, something like that, and I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't know, but that's all. That baby, think about that there. I just wanted to mention that there. I love family death, I do, but I don't think quite on the same page on that. But that's what I was meaning, If you explain something like that in person, like, oh, okay. But, if you explain something over the phone, yeah. But anyway, so that's the only downside to it, is a little bigger cap. And, that's just what I prefer, but we'll try it on our Biscayne here. This one's actually for our C10, of course, but I was just trying to put everything fresh in it and freshen it back up. I had to borrow the cap and the rotor and all that stuff, the coil and off that I bought for the 78 Ford there. I had to borrow all that stuff off to get my C10 running, because back in the summertime it quit firing. And luckily, I had a couple, I got like 10 of them distributors laying around that, I was able just to snag that cap and all that off of my 78 Ford there, because it's got a HEI distributor too. It's not installed yet, but it's still in the box, and I snagged that off of it until I got my truck running. So now I'm gonna take the cap and all that off the brand new distributor I just bought and return that back to that truck back there, because that distributor's not installed yet. I'm actually saving it, and until I'm truly ready. And that way, that makes that distributor, because I just took it out of the box and it's never even been in the truck. I just robbed the cap off of it so I could get this basket case back on the road. But we're going to put the new cap and all that back on that truck, and then we'll take our other cap and the one that's bad, and we'll return that to the distributor that was originally in this truck, and put that back together, and then we'll take our other cap that's already been run, and then we'll put that back on here on this truck. So we got to do a little rearranging here, but I'm rearranging it a little bit so that I can take in, we got a brand new cap basically on the distributor for this truck, because I got a brand new distributor that I've had for quite some time, ain't even installed yet, and it just makes it more simple. And I don't want to sit there, and I like everything to be fresh. I don't want to be messing parts up, and I don't want to have to spend. That was a little bit more money. I think it was like 60-70 bucks, something like that, because it's from the top up, it's basically a Chevrolet, and then from the bottom of the base down, it's machined for a Ford. Now, in some cases, machined for a 302 or 351 Windsor. It's machined for, you know, our Etzel here. This is FE, and that's the secret to the whole thing. Is if you ever get in a pinch, like I did, and I don't actually think the coil was bad back during that summer there. I actually think that it had so much clearance between the rotor and the cap that it just was plumb wore out, and that's why I quit firing. It was weird because I had it out on, and you know, it just cut off and it wouldn't start again. It was weird. But anyway, so that's the nice thing you ever get in a snag there. It's like, well, I got HI here, I got HI in this truck, I got HI in that truck, so I don't think I'll have to worry about, you know, I'm gonna get to where I gotta go. But during mousing and ate all my wires up, so I had to order wires for this again. Same thing that happened to my other truck right here. But anyway, so enough about that. So that's new few parts that came in here, and slow update here, and that's our quote-unquote 283. Just kidding. Let's see, 283 or is it 320 something? I don't know. But anyway, I just, like I said, I just threw them on there just to keep water and stuff out of it. Debating about ordering, I had to order one exhaust valve for number 8 cylinder. It was not burnt. It had nothing to do with that. The valve stems, you know, there's nothing more funny or anything like that. Just the tip of it was just a little bit chipped. At all of them, at the 16 valves, I just had one that was a little bit chipped at the top. So I just ordered one exhaust valve. I really don't like doing that because I really don't want to put a new valve and, you know, on a seat like that. But I'm gonna lap it in, get it, you know, lapped in real good, and I just hope, you know, I worry about it, you know, not wearing in correctly and it wearing funny and all that, but, you know, then it's a 305, so, kind of like the Durango there, you gotta get to a point where it's gotta stop. But anyway, so I ordered one, the tip was just a little bit chipped at the top, and didn't really want to take a chance. Got that on the way. It's up in the air if I'm gonna order valve springs, because like I said, this plan for this motor is we're going to keep it going in the truck for now. And when I'm ready, I want this motor, you know, I want it to be a good, strong motor as far as, you know, reliable and all that good stuff. And debating about putting valve springs in the heads, because I'm not pulling the heads back off and all that. And I'm just the type person, I don't believe in replacing valve springs with the heads installed on the motor. I think it's, to me, there's nothing wrong with it, but, you know, it's just, I'm just the type person, I'm just going to pull the heads off. I mean, you already got that far down. I mean, head gaskets ain't that much, but, I mean, getting the pinch, you know, I would do it too. There's nothing wrong with it, but in this case, you know, I'm not going to I just don't like to leave the heads on just to change springs out. I'd rather just take the time and pull the heads off anyway, because you never know. You might find a head gasket that's, you know, not sealing correctly, or, you know, you get in a situation where the head might be cracked or something like that, or, you know, you just don't know. It's always good to pull the heads off and check everything thoroughly like that, because it don't cost nothing. It don't. It really don't. To pull them off and then go get you a cheap gasket kit. You know, this is old 305 here. This is a beater motor, and you know, just check everything and then just throw your gasket kit in it and throw them back on. Now, I wouldn't, if it's something special, you know, it's a little different story, but something like this, you know, it's not really worth, you know, as cheap as parts are, I'll just pull the heads off and just, you know, do it the right way. And I'm glad I did, because the valves were so carboned up on this motor here, I don't really know how it run, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, I got all the valves cleaned up really good, and I don't want to give away too many future, because we got a future video on that. I don't give away too much, but I got a valve on the way, and it's up in there if I'm order valve springs or not. I kind of thinking serious about it, because that way that would be done, and then if I pull this motor out, I can drop the pan. We'll flush everything out really good, and all the coolant passages, all that good stuff, and might even throw an oil pump on it, and throw a new cam and a set of lifters in it, because I want this motor to be right. if I decide to use it on that Biscayne. I mean, I really don't like flat tappet cams. I don't, but you know, they're way out of date now. Honestly, really are. But people still use them. Nothing wrong with them, but that's why I'm debating about doing is spend. You know, it ain't shoot. You can get a cheap cam. This for this 305. You just got to watch the lift, because you got to be careful about that. That's why you can't put really big valves in a 305, because they'll hit the side of the cylinder wall. You got to watch the lift too on that. But I was just going to throw a stock cam back in it, so that's why I already got the hits part. If I'm kind of wanting to throw valve springs on them just for the heck of it, just to help it. But anyway, that's where we're at. Hope you like the parts, and more videos on the way.